In this section, I will talk about the need analysis for CCTV or surveillance. Okay, now to understand the requirement with respect to surveillance, you must start off with first of all asking that what kind of surveillance equipment he is already using. Is he already using some analog DVR based system or is he already using some IP based system? What brand is he using? Is it Axis, Honeywell, Pelco, Dawa? Okay, so you need to be able to understand as to what type of equipment he is already using. Then again, the next most important point is about the operational requirements. Okay, what is the purpose of surveillance? Why does he want to have the CCTV cameras installed in the first place? So, for that, you need to understand that there may be different purposes for surveillance. Okay, one of the purposes for surveillance is security. That he's worried that there may be theft of important equipment, documents, or there may be some kind of someone coming into the premises intrusion. Okay, then again they may want to monitor with respect to safety, like there is any fire incident. Then the other important aspect of surveillance or the need for surveillance is monitoring. So many times people want to watch their offices, their factories, or different construction site with regard to monitoring the employees, whether they are working, how they are working, whether they are following the safety protocols or not, whether the production is going as per schedule or not, okay, whether the labor is actually working, not working, loitering, and then coming to other specialized purposes that include like vehicle identification. Okay, so you want to keep track of all the vehicles that are coming in. So you want the license plates of all the vehicles that are going in through a particular area. This is required for high security establishments. Then even you may want to keep a record of the people who are coming in and out, like especially for hotels or malls or public places where they may do something and you may need to take out the image of the person and identify him at a later stage. So you need to be able to see his face and recognize his face. Okay. Then another aspect of surveillance is to clarify what is the expectation of the customer from cameras. Here I would like to stress on one very important point, which is the cause of most problems, is that the customer need to be able to tell you that what do they want with respect to surveillance, what do they expect? Like, are they looking at only monitoring or recognition? Okay, because security cameras can be used to identify people. At the same time, they can be used to monitor large areas. Okay, but if the camera is being used to monitor a large area, the same camera cannot identify the face of an unknown person because that face may appear very small in the video. Okay, so at every location where you are placing the camera, the purpose has to be defined. The purpose, let me bring in another PPT to explain to you that what are the different purposes of surveillance. This will help you to clarify to the customer. Okay, so what you can see here, as you can see here, so you see there are four different purposes of surveillance. One purpose can be to monitor and control. Here, you don't need to see the details, you just need to understand whether there is some activity in this place or not. Other is detection, to be able to detect when there is a person, a vehicle, or any animal in that area. Then the third purpose is recognition. In recognition, you can identify the person, the unknown person, that person you already know from his clothes, okay, or from his clothes, from his style of walking, but you may not be able to recognize an unidentified person, an unknown person, okay. Then the fourth objective is identification. Okay, in case of identification, even if the person is not known to you, you can still take the photograph and go to the police and have them search for the person and identify who's the perpetrator or the person of interest. So, as you can see in these four images, see the size of the object varies. So, in this case, the object is small, in this case, it's nearly invisible. Here, for recognition, it is almost covering half of the screen, and in case of identification, it is not even, the person is not even fitting into the screen. Okay, so this is very important with regard to surveillance, that what is the purpose. So normally how we go about is that for the cameras that are placed at the entry and exit, we only cover, we try to get the biggest possible image of the person so that we are able to identify them. For the other areas, we can take cameras that cover larger distance and we only do monitoring and control. Because even if the person does something, he will always go out or come into the entry or exits, and there we will be able to capture his face. Okay. Then again, in this regards, let me tell you that normally for the recognition, you must ensure that the camera is not more than 5 or 6 meters distance from the gate or the entry or exit. Another very important aspect is that you must get the layout of the place where cameras are to be put, because without layout it is very difficult to design the network or be able to explain to the projects team on how and where the cameras are to be put and what type of cameras to be put. So better get a drawing either in PDF or AutoCAD from the customer, or in case it is not available, you can make a rough hand drawing then and there. Coming to the next point here is determination of the number of cameras and locations required to monitor the agreed zones and objects. Of course, once you get the layout, you can sit down with the customer and you mark the important areas where he wants surveillance. Okay. Yes, of course, you will get help from the pre-sales team to exactly mark down as to exactly how many cameras and what type of cameras are required, but still get a general idea from the customer. Once you get these details, then you must also ask them that how does the customer intend to monitor these cameras. Once these cameras are installed, how will he check the video? Will some dedicated personnel from the existing team be dedicatedly put to watch the feed, or do we need to provide them with a central monitoring system where they can monitor the cameras, or will only be seeing the recording if anything happens? Okay, this is critical because then we can understand and how he will watch and what kind of equipment is to be provided to watch the cameras. Furthermore, he may also need to watch the video remotely. The cameras may be installed in the factory, but the person may want to view it from his office. Similarly, he may want to view multiple factories from one office, multiple locations from one place remotely. Then in that case, you may also need to understand what kind of network or internet connections can be used to monitor the feed remotely. Okay. Then again, like what I just mentioned to you, that how many people would be watching the cameras and from where. Okay, so we can actually set up the cameras to be viewed remotely on devices like iPads or iPhones or even computers remotely. Then specifically, if remote monitoring is required, then what is the existing bandwidth that is available? Normally, we need approximately 2 Mbps for 16 cameras in low resolution. Okay, low resolution is almost like CIF or QCIF, quarter CIF. But if you want to see the cameras in higher resolution, then we may need 6 to 8 Mbps for every 16 cameras, where we can show them the video feed in 4 CIF, that is 640 by 480 pixels. Of course, you have to ask about the power, the UPS. Another important consideration may be about the analog or IP. Okay, the cameras are available in analog and also in IP. So analog is suitable only where the requirement of the camera is very small, and for very small areas like a small office having requirement for 16 to 20 cameras only. Okay, and it is not suitable if the distances are large or the area to be covered is like a college campus with multiple buildings, because in case of analog cameras, each camera has to be connected to the DVR with a separate cable, and the resolution is limited to 704 by 576 pixels, okay, which is very low for identification purposes, especially for larger areas. In normally what we recommend these days is IP cameras, because IP cameras can work on the same network that we use to connect computers, that is a data network. So it may not require separate cabling. Secondly, they have much higher resolution, like 1280 by 1024 pixels, that is full megapixel. So it is having typically minimum resolution of IP camera is 4 times that of analog camera. Okay, and they are very good for covering larger areas because we can easily connect larger areas using fiber network or wireless LAN network. Okay, and then again, because of the higher resolution, we can even easily identify unknown people or unknown vehicles. And of course, because each camera does not need to be individually connected to the NVR in case of IP cameras, so we can save on cabling. For one area, we can terminate all the cables into a switch, and from that area, only one cable needs to be connected from the switch to the NVR. So that way, if there are 16 cameras, you don't have to put 16 cables, one for each camera, to the NVR. You only have to put one cable from the switch, and switch may further connect to those 16 cameras. Then you must also ask about the working hours, because then again we need to estimate that how much recording space is required. So some organizations work for 24 into 7, like airports, malls, hotels. There's a lot of movement, and because of the motion, that means more recording space is required. And some places the work is only from say 9 to 6, so only 9 to 10 or 11, 12 hours is required. Another important aspect is to ask about the night vision. Okay, so sometimes some people have concerns about theft at night. So in that case, we can give infrared cameras, which can easily even show the intruder or a person, even if there is pitch darkness, there is no light at all. So you must ask the person that how important is night vision for him. Then again, you must also ask him about the recording. That for what duration would you like to keep the recording with him? It may be maybe as low as 1 week, and can even be 2, 3, 4 months. Okay, the only difference is that we will need more storage space. Typically, the requirement is 15 days or 1 month. On special scenarios, we can even give 3 months or 6 months. Then also, you may ask the customer about special features. The special features include, one of the features is ANPR or LPR. ANPR stands for Automatic Number Plate Recognition, or LPR is License Plate Recognition. Both of them mean the same thing. So automatically getting the capture of the vehicle's number plate and reading it and entering it into the computer, not as an image but as text. Similarly, we can send automated alerts. For instance, if someone is in the office after work hours, then an email can be sent with the photographs. Then there is advanced video analytics. In this case, you can mark a certain area. If the someone enters that area, then automatically you can be alerted. And there are many types of video analytics related to counting of people, counting of objects. So if there is any special requirement related to video analytics, you can ask the customer. Similarly, we can also integrate the surveillance system with other systems like fire alarm system or the access control system. Okay, so in case you integrate it with the access control system, then in that case, the video near the gate where the access control is installed can also show you the name of the person that is entering, whether the access was granted or not, date and time on which the gate was opened. Okay, so many types of integration is available. So this is more or less the details that need to be asked to the customer regarding the CCTV surveillance.